Okay, back working on the Black 101. I thought we were finished, but in the middle of testing records and testing the machine, the auto brake suddenly decided to work intermittently. Yesterday I was mostly playing records without the center eccentric, so it didn't need the auto brake wouldn't work anyway, but I started playing some Brunswicks and some later orthophonic Victors, a couple of other ones, and it would trigger on some, and then it's just stopped triggering on others. What could be going on here? Because I had rebuilt the whole thing already. So, took it all apart again, checked all the washers. I decided to replace the lower washer, which is that one, because a little bit crusty, but the part that matters really wasn't. This is where the surface that matters here. But I did replace it with a spare from the spare parts bin. The upper washer, I decided to swap that out too. I found a clean one, surprisingly, and this very rusty. A Victor Vitrola auto stop, early, like from the teens. A little bigger in diameter, same center hole, bigger in diameter, fit on perfect, works fine. And still, intermittent. Play a record, it works fine. Play 2, 3, it works fine. Fourth record, all of a sudden, it doesn't want to stop. Okay, what could it be? What could it be? And then suddenly it occurred to me, did we check under the turntable the clip that goes around in the center here under this? There's a clip that clips on here. That's part of the auto stop. And it's what the brake actually triggers on. That is the brake, basically. Now, I looked at it, looked close, and found out somebody had oiled it. Don't know why that would be done. It can't have oil on it. So I got the clip off without breaking it, wiped down the spindle and on the part of the turntable, any trace of oil on there, and the clip itself, reinstalled it, put the record on, and I think I've played 10 in a row now, and it's actually working fine. So let's go over the operation of the auto stop or auto brake, whichever you want to call it. Same difference. On the HMV102, it's got 2 settings here. As you see, you will when I get the camera in the right spot. Right there. In this setting, the auto brake is on. Use that for records that have a center eccentric here. You see how the groove just kind of goes and gets wider and wider? That's what triggers the auto brake to stop. If the record does not have that, it's an older Victor or something like that from the teens or earlier, then you slide the lever to that position. That turns the auto stop off. See how the turntable stop starts moving right away? And then back on again. Oh, got to turn that away that way. Now, to use the auto stop, this is already, I put a needle in it and wound it up. First, all the way to the back. See, until it bottoms out with a tone arm, all the way to the back. Then smoothly pivot this up all the way to the front. Right about there. It's almost touching the crank handle. Now, you do not go all the way back with it again. You only go as far as here. And you put it down and slide it into the groove. that is how it works. You see how it hits the eccentric, how the grooves are very wide apart there? That jerks the reproducer over, and that triggers the auto brake to stop. Now, it's very important that when you set this, I'm going to put the regular brake on so it doesn't move after this, but all the way to the rear, all the way to the front. See, and then you gently move it over, put it here, and slide it into the first groove. If you do this, whoops, I didn't want to do that. If you do this, now what's happened is you've knocked the settings off. It's either going to stop the record right there, or it's simply not going to work. It's going to trigger. You have to go back and do it all over again. So always remember, let's take the needle out so I don't scratch the hell out of this record. Because despite its content, it is actually in pretty good shape. All the way back, all the way forward, down, boom. And then you leave it alone. It'll slowly play all the way back here. And then when it hits there, that eccentric does this. It does that. And that's all it takes to trigger the auto brake. It's very delicate, very sensitive. It's all it takes to trigger it. And for some reason, if you've got a record you're playing with a big, say it's got a big chip out here or something like that, and you just want to play the second half of it, hey, that's cool, whatever. You know, turn the auto brake off and then play it as you would a normal early Victor record using the regular brake, which is right here. That's all you have to do. That's all there is to it. Well, we seem to have this licked, because if it will trigger on one of these Brunswick little tiny eccentrics there, it'll trigger anything. The Victors tend to be a little bit bigger eccentric and a much more of a positive, like boom, to trigger it off. But if a little one like that'll do it, any of them will do it, and it's actually working now. All it was grease and oil on that clip, causing it to slip, and apparently that was enough. Don't oil the auto brake. That's any part of it. Okay. That, by the way, was Brunswick record around in Morocco. Green Brothers Xylophone Orchestra. Xylophone Orchestra. Yes. And here we have Carl Fenton's orchestra. You want to play that one? Just to make sure it's working? Why not? I'm testing records anyway, so I might as well play that side. Maybe there won't be xylophones in this one. I've put the phone... I got to put the phone down for a minute while I get a needle on there. I guess xylophones were pretty popular in the 20s, but I never really had a taste for it, to tell you the truth. Okay. But it does play well, which makes it good for testing certain functions on reproducers and whatnot. Oops. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. It was a long record, so I'm just going to give it a couple of cranks. See how smooth these things crank? Most of the time. That's all it needs. Probably doesn't need it, but why bother otherwise? Let's see. All the way forward. It was already all the way back. Oh, I got the regular brake on, don't I? I do. Let's take that off. All the way forward, starts to turn. Pivot down, over. Okay. Generally, if a Brunswick eccentric, wow, that was a dirty record, we'll trigger it. Anything will. And there we go. The mystery is solved. 2 hours because somebody had oiled the wrong part. I'm not really sure why they did it, or who knows. A lot of times these machines are found in basements and attics, and antique dealers have them who don't know anything about them, and they tend to just hose them down with whatever spray lubricant they have handy, and then sell it as good. Oh, it works. You know, it turns it works. They don't know about the thump and bump springs and not oiling auto brakes and, you know, all the stuff like that. Sometimes they do a lot of harm, and sometimes they don't do anything at all and tell you they did it all. But there we go. The auto brake is now functioning. See, this is why I always test machines. Not with 1 or 2 records, but 30 or 40 of them. Not only does that distribute the grease in the motor very well, but it also brings to light little problems like this. Stubborn auto brakes. And that seems to be good, because I've played, well, I guess this makes it about 16 records in a row. 16 sides anyway, with the triggering every time. So that seems to be working now. We've got that under control. And this machine is just about ready now to go back to its home. It's all prettied up and serviced. Okay.